I never thought the happiest day of my brother's life would start with banning my daughter from his wedding. She's 9, and her only crime? Telling the truth. We were sitting at the dinner table, everything perfectly arranged, until Lily said she saw his fiancé hugging a strange man outside her school. Everyone froze, then laughed, then everything changed. They said she was confused, over-imaginative, but I know my daughter. And what came next ripped my family apart. I stayed quiet once, never again, because this time I chose the truth, even if it meant losing everyone. They always said we were the perfect family. The kind you see in photo frames at the store, smiling, coordinated, untouched by chaos. Holidays with colour-coordinated sweaters, polite jokes over wine, Jason playing the piano like the prodigy he's always been. And me? I was the balance, the quiet, dependable one. Single mum, sure, but still part of the frame. Jason's wedding was set to be the pinnacle of that perfection. His fiancée, Marissa, was everything a mother-in-law could dream of. Polished, poised, and practically made of porcelain. My mother would whisper, "Finally, someone classy to bring into this family," as if I'd brought a raccoon home when I had Lily. That night, we had dinner at my parents' house, a soft-lit rehearsal dinner filled with laughter and expensive cutlery. Lily sat beside me, her feet dangling off the chair. She played with her napkin while the adults talked over her head. Jason was telling a story about his proposal. Marissa beamed. My parents nodded in performative pride. Then Lily looked up, her voice sweet and steady. "Mum," she said, tugging at my sleeve, "isn't that the lady I saw hugging a man in the black car outside school last week?" Silence. Marissa froze. Jason's fork paused mid-air. My mother chuckled nervously. "Kids say the darndest things," she muttered, brushing it off like lint on cashmere. But I saw it, the flicker in Marissa's eyes, the way her fingers curled slightly under the tablecloth. Not fear, calculation. Jason ruffled Lily's hair. "Maybe it was her dad, kiddo. Marissa visits schools a lot for her charity stuff." Lily frowned. "He kissed her, though, on the mouth." Everyone laughed, not because it was funny, because they didn't know what else to do. I squeezed Lily's hand gently under the table, trying to tell her it was okay. She hadn't done anything wrong, but I could feel it already, that shift in the air, the unspoken discomfort, the subtle tightening of social strings around our necks. If I had paid closer attention to the way Marissa looked at my daughter just then, if I hadn't been too busy pretending everything was fine, maybe none of what came next would have happened. The email came the next morning. No subject line, just plain text. "Emma, I understand kids say strange things, but your daughter crossed a line last night. For the sake of Jason's happiness and the success of this wedding, I'd appreciate it if you kept Lily home. She seems emotionally unpredictable, and I don't want any scenes. I'm sure you understand." I stared at the screen, hands trembling, not with shock, but recognition. I'd felt this tone before. It was the same one my parents used when I brought up Jason's drinking in college. Or when I dared mention my ex's cheating, and they told me to focus on keeping the family together. I showed the email to my mother. She read it, lips pursed. "Marissa has a point," she said, sipping her coffee. "Maybe Lily's just imaginative." "She wasn't lying," I said. "She's a child, Emma. You can't expect everyone to take her seriously. This wedding is important. Don't make it about you." There it was, the default setting. Jason untouchable. Emma, too emotional. Later that week, I tried to speak with Jason. I told him what Lily saw, that maybe he should just ask Marissa. His response, "Are you trying to sabotage this for me?" Jesus. Not everything is a conspiracy. He looked at me like I was unwell, like I needed help. It was the same look he gave me the night I showed up on our doorstep pregnant, and he asked if I was keeping the baby out of spite. I picked Lily up early from school that day. On a hunch, I asked the front office if I could review the security footage from last Tuesday, the day Lily said she saw Marissa. The receptionist blinked, then said, "That day's already been wiped. Sorry, we only keep 5 days." 5 days? It had only been 4. Something wasn't right, but maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was letting the past bleed into the present. That's what they'd say, right? Back home, I sat on the edge of Lily's bed while she played with her stuffed bunny. "Sweetheart," I asked gently, "are you sure it was Marissa?" She nodded. She had that same purse, and her nails were red, like always. I took a breath, heart pounding. I wanted to believe everything was still salvageable, that maybe this was just a misunderstanding, but deep down, I already knew we were past the point of repair. I'd spent most of my life bending myself into shapes that made others comfortable, being polite, acceptable, forgiving. But now, my daughter was being erased for telling the truth, and I had a choice. Stay quiet again, or burn the whole illusion down. I used to think Jason was the one person in the family who still saw me. We weren't close, but he wasn't cruel until now. It started with short replies, then longer silences. Then came the voicemail. "Emma, seriously? This crap is getting out of hand. Mum said you're still bringing Lily to the wedding. After everything, if you can't control her, maybe don't come at all. No, hey, how are you? No, let's talk. Just cold steel where warmth used to be." The group chat pinged. My mum had shared a message. "Just wanted everyone to know. Lily made a little mistake, that's all. Let's not overreact. Kids lie sometimes. It's developmental." Attached was a screenshot of Lily's words, paraphrased and stripped of context. My daughter had become family gossip. I didn't reply. I stared at it for a long time, scrolling up and down the thread as emoji reactions popped up, laughing faces, a few hearts, even one from a cousin I hadn't seen in years. They weren't laughing at the situation. They were laughing at us. Then came the suggestion, buried in my mother's usual passive-aggressive calm. "You've been under a lot of stress, honey. Maybe take a little break. A weekend at that cabin upstate. We'll take care of the details here. Just let the wedding be about Jason for now." Let it be about Jason. Of course, I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I started digging. I contacted a tech-savvy friend from college, someone who now worked in digital recovery. I told him I needed help retrieving deleted school footage, just a timestamp, anything. He owed me a favour. Within 48 hours, he sent a file. "Check this," he said. "Camera 3, parking lot." It was grainy, low res, but there it was, a black luxury car. Marissa standing beside it, glancing over her shoulder. A man in a grey suit stepped out. He leaned in. They kissed. Long, familiar, intimate. Then I saw his face. Not a stranger. It was Derek Lang, Jason's boss. My stomach flipped. I paused the video. The rewound, played it again. What the hell was Jason's fiancée doing, making out with his boss? And then I remembered something. Jason had once mentioned Derek being tough but loyal, that he got him out of a tight HR mess years ago. He never elaborated. I Googled Derek Lang. 3 articles, all buried under fluff PR pieces. One headline stood out. Former female employee accuses executive of harassment, case dismissed after sudden settlement. No follow-up, no resolution, just a vanishing trail. I took screenshots, saved everything in a folder, label just in case. 2 days later, an envelope appeared at my doorstep. No return address. Inside was a single note typed. Keep your daughter quiet. This isn't just about a wedding. You're playing with someone's career. No signature. No explanation. I knew exactly who it was from. Jason hadn't just chosen to ignore the truth. He was actively protecting something or someone. That night, Lily came home from school quieter than usual. I made her favourite mac and cheese, hoping to cheer her up. She picked at it. "Mum," she said, "why did Ella say I ruin people's lives?" I froze. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "She said I'm a liar, that I made her mum cry. She told the whole class. Now no one wants to sit with me." My hands clenched so tightly on the spoon, I almost bent it. Kids don't invent cruelty like that on their own. It comes from parents. I hugged Lily tight and whispered, "You didn't do anything wrong. You were brave." But even as I said it, I felt the fear worming into my chest, the fear that truth had become a curse, not a virtue. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept spinning. Jason's silence, Marissa's threat, Derek Lang, the kiss, the note. I got up, opened my laptop and typed out a timeline. Every incident, every email, every inconsistency. I backed up all files on a USB drive and hid it inside Lily's old teddy bear. Not because I thought anything would happen, but because for the first time in years, I didn't trust my family with my safety. I scrolled through old family photos, Jason and I as kids, grinning at a beach, our mum holding us close like we were her everything. And now she was orchestrating my daughter's erasure. I almost laughed, Then I opened the group chat and reread their words. "Let's just keep the peace. Don't rock the boat." Emma's overreacting again. What they meant was lie, comply, disappear. But I wasn't disappearing, not this time. The night before the wedding felt like stepping into a theatre where everyone had rehearsed their roles except me. The estate was lit with fairy lights, white roses spilled from crystal vases, and every corner smelled of curated perfection. Guests mingled, wine glasses clinked, and Jason looked like he'd walked out of a magazine spread. Marissa clung to his arm like she belonged there. A woman in a navy pantsuit pulled me aside just as I reached for a glass of champagne. She introduced herself as the couple's legal advisor. No pleasantries, no softening. "They'd like you to sign this," she said, handing me a folder. It was a non-disclosure agreement. In simple terms, if I wanted to attend the wedding, I had to promise not to speak, post, or share anything that might damage the reputation of the bride, groom, or their families. Any violation would incur legal consequences. I stood there, breath caught in my throat, fingers tightening around the pages. Marissa appeared behind the lawyer, her voice low but venom-laced. "This is standard, just for peace of mind. Surely you want what's best for your daughter, don't you?" Jason wouldn't even look at me. I walked away. In the garden behind the tent, I sat on a bench and stared at the papers in my lap, heart pounding. Everything was spinning. Derek Lang, the erased footage, the threats, the pressure to vanish. Then I felt a tug at my elbow. Lily. She held out a piece of folded paper. "I made this for you. Just in case. Inside was a letter, written in her crooked handwriting, big loopy letters and misspellings. Mummy, I know people don't believe me, but I told the truth because I wanted to protect Uncle Jason. And I told you because I trust you. If you don't believe me, who will? I couldn't breathe. I looked at her, this little human I'd brought into the world, who had more courage in her 9-year-old heart than every adult in that building. I tore the NDA in half. We left that night. No goodbyes, just the sound of my heels clicking against the marble floor and Lily's small hand holding mine. 2 hours later, Marissa posted a story on Instagram. The caption read, "Some people just can't let go of the spotlight. Drama queen from birth. My favourite sister-in-law." The image was a blurry photo of me walking out with Lily, our backs turned. I turned off my phone. The next morning, while I made pancakes for Lily, my inbox exploded. Friends, extended relatives, even co-workers. Everyone suddenly had something to say. Texts ranged from faux concern to not so subtle blame. "You're ruining Jason's big day." "Why can't you just keep quiet for once? Maybe Lily just misunderstood." Hashtags like Jason and took to family first started circulating in family chats. Someone even posted a side-by-side photo of Marissa smiling at the rehearsal dinner and Lily mid-sentence captioned, "Who would you believe?" By lunchtime, I received a call from HR. They said an anonymous complaint had been filed, claiming my personal behaviour and public posts had created an uncomfortable environment at work. I hadn't posted anything, didn't matter. They said I was being placed on leave pending review. To give everyone space. That was their phrase, space, as if I was suffocating them simply by existing. I stared at the wall for what felt like hours. Then Lily came in holding her drawing pad. "Mum," she asked quietly, "am I bad for saying what I saw?" "No," I whispered into her. "You did the right thing." "But everyone's mad." "I know," I said. "Sometimes people get mad when they're afraid." She tilted her head. "Wait, afraid of what?" "Of truth," I said, "because once it's out, they have to choose. Pretend it's not real, or face it." That night, I didn't sleep. I watched the ceiling, the shadows, the tiny movements of light from the street lamps. Something inside me cracked, not loudly, not all at once, just enough to make me question if fighting was even worth it. I walked into the bathroom, turned on the tap. The sound of running water drowned everything out, the shame, the exhaustion, the helplessness. I sat on the floor, back against the tub, knees pulled to my chest. If I disappeared, would they even notice? Then came the ping, an email, no subject. The body read, "I was once engaged to Jason. He did to me what he's doing to you. I have proof. Let me help you. A survivor." I stared at the screen, shaking. And just like that, the crack inside me didn't grow. It solidified, because I wasn't alone. The email came with attachments, photos, voice memos, screenshots. One of them was a scanned document, an ultrasound. The date was from 3 years ago. The name matched the sender. Her name was Claire. In her first voice message, Claire's voice cracked more than once. "I thought I was the one. Jason proposed fast. Everything was a fairy tale until I got pregnant. He flipped. Told me I couldn't keep it. Said it would ruin his image, his job, his family. He said if I wanted to be part of his life, I had to make it disappear." She paused, then, quieter, I did it. I didn't want to, but I did. Then he ghosted me, told his friends I was unstable, that I lied. I thought it was just me. But hearing about your daughter, I had to speak up. I sat in the kitchen, listening to her voice over and over. Something inside me breaking and hardening all at once. It wasn't just about Lily. It never had been. It was about a system, a machine built to protect Jason, no matter who he hurt. The next morning, I went to see my mother. She answered the door in silk and pearls, as always. The living room smelled like lemon polish and old silence. Jason's photo still dominated the mantel. I didn't bother with small talk. "Did you know about Claire?" I asked. "About what he made her do?" She blinked. "Who?" "Jason's ex-fiancée, the one he pressured into an abortion because a baby didn't fit his narrative." Her face didn't change. She sipped her tea. "That's not our business, Emma." "You knew, didn't you?" She put her cup down, finally looked at me. "Your father handled it, paid for her silence." I stared. "You what?" "He didn't want Jason's future ruined. A scandal like that could end a career." The words came out of my mouth before I could stop them. "What about my future? My name gets dragged. My daughter gets called a liar, and you stand there protecting him like he's some delicate prince." Her eyes narrowed. "Because at least he knows how to carry himself. He doesn't create messes he can't clean up." I laughed, not out of humour, but disbelief. The sound was sharp, bitter, foreign in my throat. "Then let me say it clearly," I said. "I'd rather lose every ounce of dignity you value than raise my daughter in a world where silence is safety." She didn't respond. I walked out, not looking back. That afternoon, I hired a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but one who specialised in family coercion, digital harassment, and image-based abuse. She'd dealt with bigger families than mine and scarier secrets. I found a child psychologist for Lily, one who worked with survivors of institutional gaslighting. She met Lily that evening over hot cocoa and crafts. Then I sat down and built my case. I printed the emails, saved the voicemails, uploaded the recovered school footage to multiple encrypted drives. Claire agreed to record a statement. I even reopened my old group chat, taking screenshots of every comment, every passive threat, every meme mocking Lily. I was ready for war. Then, as if fate had one more twist to hand me, I got a DM from an account with no profile picture. "You don't know me, but I work catering for the wedding. Thought you'd want to see this." She scared the hell out of that little girl. I couldn't let it slide. Attached was a video, shaky, clearly taken through a crack in the bathroom door. The audio was muffled, but clear enough. Marissa stood over Lily, voice low and threatening. "You ruined everything," she hissed. "Say another word and I'll make sure no one ever believes you again. Not your teachers, not your mum, no one." Lily looked up at her, frozen. The video cut out. I closed my laptop and sat still for a long time. The woman my brother was about to marry had cornered my daughter in a bathroom and threatened her into silence. And no one had done anything. No one but a stranger with a phone and a conscience. I looked at all the files, all the pieces spread across my desk, all the truths others had tried to bury with money, guilt, and shame. And for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. I whispered to myself, they wanted peace. I'll give them justice. Then I wrote a question on a sticky note and taped it above my screen. If you had the chance to expose everything, would you? Even if it meant losing the only family you had left? Because for me, the answer was already written. In Lily's letter, in Claire's voice, in the silence between my mother's words. Yes, the wedding was beautiful. Everything gleamed. The air shimmered with soft violin music and the scent of peonies. Rows of white chairs lined a private garden, each one adorned with silk sashes and calligraphed name cards. A champagne bar stood on the left, a donut wall on the right, and in the centre. An altar draped in blush, silk, and fairy lights. Jason stood at the front, polished like a politician, his smile calm and calculated. Marissa floated down the aisle like a living Pinterest board. The crowd rose in unison, phones in hand, frozen in reverence. The perfect moment, the perfect couple. Then the projector screen flickered. It had been set up as part of a special surprise for the couple, a video montage curated by the best man. Except the best man had never seen this file. The screen went black. Then played the school parking lot footage, Marissa kissing Derek Lang. Gasps echoed, cut to the audio of Claire, voice trembling, recounting the pressure to terminate her pregnancy for Jason's image. Then came the bathroom video, Marissa hovering over Lily, her threats clear and cruel. Silence. Somewhere in the crowd, a glass shattered. Marissa shrieked, storming off the altar. Jason stared at the screen like it had betrayed him personally. Then he turned. He saw me and charged. Security moved faster. 2 staff members caught him before he reached me, his words slurred in fury. You vindictive little... You ruined everything. No, I said, you did. They dragged him away. Somewhere behind me a child started crying. I looked out over the stunned guests. Some had already started leaving. Others whispered, eyes wide, faces pale. Phones buzzed. The viral cycle had begun. Later that evening, the footage had reached local news, then national tabloids. By the next morning, it was everywhere. Bride's wedding ruined by sister's bombshell reveal. CEO's fiancé exposed in public scandal. Wedding of the year becomes lawsuit of the century. The internet did what it does best. Screenshots circulated, hashtags trended, TikToks broke it down like true crime. My parents didn't call, but I knew they knew. They deleted their Facebook accounts. My mother's curated Instagram grid went dark. They couldn't erase the truth this time. Marissa vanished. No press statement, no apology, just gone. The wedding vendors started filing lawsuits, floral deposits, unpaid catering bills. Even the violinist demanded compensation for emotional distress. Jason lost his job within the week. The company issued a swift statement distancing themselves from personal conduct inconsistent with our values. Lily went back to school. Some kids were mean, some were curious, but most just watched her like she was something new, something brave. She sat tall in class, her eyes steady. The counsellor told me she's healing faster than most adults would. Then a week later, an email arrived, subject book proposal, your story, your voice. It was from a senior editor at a major publishing house. She'd seen the story, not just the viral posts, but the patterns beneath, the legacy of silence, control, and survival. She wanted me to write it, from my point of view, as a mother, as a sister, as a woman who had been gaslit by her own blood for too long. At first, I hesitated, not out of fear, but because the idea of telling it all, fully, rawly, meant revisiting every bruise, every betrayal. Then I thought of Lily, of her letter. If you don't believe me, who will? I opened a new document, typed the first line. This is not a story about a wedding. This is a story about a lie and what happens when one girl tells the truth. We think families are forever. That blood means loyalty. But sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who cut the deepest because they know where to aim. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not forgive, not forget, but tell the truth, even if it costs you everything. So let me ask you, if you've made it this far, have you ever stayed silent to protect someone else's lie? Do you regret it? Or are you still living inside their version of the story? Because I finally stepped out and I'm never going back. The first print run sold out overnight. By the time I woke up, the bravery of a child was already climbing the charts. My phone vibrated with interview requests, reader messages, book club invites. Every ping felt surreal. I hadn't written it for fame. I'd written it because I was tired of carrying shame that never belonged to me. I wrote every page with Lily beside me, curled up on the couch, reading over my shoulder and asking, "Are you going to tell them what really happened?" Yes, baby. I did. The day after the book hit shelves, Lily and I flew to New York for a morning show appearance. The host, glossy and practiced, leaned forward and asked Lily, "Do you know how brave you are?" Lily swung her feet beneath the chair and smiled. "I just said the truth. My mum says truth is stronger than anything else." The audience applauded, not the polite kind, real heartfelt clapping. Some stood. When the clip aired online, it went viral in less than 6 hours. People wrote from all over, mothers, teachers, strangers. They told us Lily gave them courage, that her voice made them feel less alone. Some shared secrets they'd buried for years. Others simply said, "Thank you." One message read, "Your daughter helped me believe my daughter again." I almost didn't. I'll never make that mistake again. We printed that one and stuck it on our fridge. At night, after the noise died down, Lily and I would sit on our little balcony and watch the stars. She asked if people would stop being mean now. I told her, "Some won't, but now more people will stand with you than against you." And that was enough. A month later, we launched Truth First, a non-profit dedicated to helping children and parents speak up when family dynamics try to silence them. We offered legal aid, therapy, workshops, and online resources. People donated faster than we expected. Survivors volunteered to run local chapters. Counsellors offered free sessions. Within 3 months, we had chapters in 6 cities. The momentum wasn't just ours, it was generational pain finally getting language. Then one morning, an email slid quietly into my inbox. No subject, no greeting. "I failed you, I protected the wrong child, I was too afraid of shame to see what it cost you. I'm sorry, this money is not enough, but I hope it helps you rebuild." Attached was a wire transfer confirmation. My father, he hadn't spoken to me since the wedding, not one word. And now this, an apology that reeked of guilt and distance. I didn't reply. I forwarded the funds to our emergency housing program and deleted the message. Closure doesn't always come in conversations. Sometimes it's a quiet decision not to let someone back in, no matter how remorseful their tone. Lily never asked about him. She stopped asking about any of them. She had new family now. We left the city that spring, packed our things, gave away what we didn't need, and drove until the coast came into view. Our new house was small, weathered shingles, chipped paint, and a wraparound porch that groaned in the wind, but it was ours. And it was quiet. In the mornings, I'd write at the kitchen table while Lily walked barefoot along the beach, collecting sea glass and shells. She kept a jar labelled truth tokens. Tiny pieces of colour, she said, reminded her that even broken things can be beautiful. We planted a garden, we baked more, we argued less, and when we cried, it wasn't from fear. It was from letting things go. People still reached out. Some wanted advice, others just wanted to be heard. We listened. We gave what we could. But mostly, we lived. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Lily turned to me on the porch. "Do you think they'll ever say sorry out loud?" I thought about it, about my mother's silence, about Jason's rage, about the system they protected. "Maybe," I said, "but we don't need it." "Why not?" "Because the truth doesn't need permission to exist. It just needs someone brave enough to speak it." She nodded, placing a piece of blue sea glass into her jar. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of salt and peace. And in that moment, I knew we were free. Not because justice had been perfectly served, not because everyone learned their lesson, but because we no longer needed their version of the story to survive. We had our own, and we told it every day.